Hi everyone, welcome back to Every Degree Matters. I'm your host Saffran. Today we're going to talk about a lot of interesting topic, and I hope you guys had, first of all, a great Halloween and happy Halloween for everyone. It was amazing, and I had the fantastic night on the Halloween day. So we got a lot of things that has been happening in the last week, and first we got to talk about. We'll be talking about today, of course, the mayoral race in New York City. Zoran Mamdani won the election, and then we're also going to talk about what's happening with the stock market, crypto. Things are going down. What is it causing? Moreover, we are also going to touch upon about the interest rate cuts. What's the Fed saying right now, and when we can see a cut, interest rate cuts. With that, let's get to the show.
And you wanna write it down? Would it kill you just to listen? And you wanna sell it out with the words out of position? Hold on till you see the break of dawn. Brush your hair back from your face. You won't see me when I'm gone.
Welcome back, everyone. This is your host Saffran Minhar, and we're going to talk about all the topics that we just said in the introduction. Let's get. I would like to say, first of all, big congratulations for Zoran Mamdani, the newly elected New York City. New York City, you're waking up to the newly elected mayor, Zoran Mamdani, today in the morning. It's going to be crazy. And I'm not a big fan of him, but I think New York City has spoken. He won with 50.4% of vote. That's a great turnout for him. And he has also said, no for the establishment. He has said no for the Democratic Party's establishment, which is also like great for the party, I would say, for the Democratic Party, which is trying to figure out which way they want to head since they lost the presidential election. Cuomo lost. He ran big. I wasn't a fan of him anyways because of all of his allegations that allegedly that he has denied and everything, which a lot of things has happened. And let's get to the topic. So yeah, I mean, Zoran won. I saw his speech. It was powerful, impactful. New York City has voted for its first youngest mayor in 100 years, and also a democratic socialist mayor. I don't know where it's gonna go. I'm a little skeptical about it. Hey, it's not my mayor. New York City, good luck. And I hope he can do what he said, and I hope he can achieve everything. I made a post today on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, sorry, on X. Let me read it out to you guys so that you know what I'm talking about. So here I said where a best case scenario, Zoran Mamdani curbs the outsized role of money in politics and steering New York City towards a more equitable capitalism. Worst case scenario, it tips into an full-blown socialism. So hey, good luck. And I want to just make this thing. I see a lot of people, they're going to move to Florida, Tampa, or like wherever in Florida. Like, I know a lot of New Yorkers. They are so true to their city. I don't think nobody's going to move out. I hear a lot of people say that ain't happening. So I'm not from New York, so I have people from New Yorkers. They love the city, and I think some people can live with it. And maybe Zoran could be a good mayor. You never know. It all depends on. But he did. I would like to say that he ran a perfect, awesome candidate. It's a good case study, and because a lot of people can learn from it, because where he has done a lot of social media impact, his voter base was young energetic people, and he got big endorsement from the Jewish communities, from the Muslim communities, all the religious communities. He was like banging in, like us, like wow. And he's the guy that said that he will not go to Israel if he becomes the mayor. He would rather go to the synagogue across the five barrels. That's just crazy. And with that, you guys also need to understand, I think the Democratic Party is winning. I don't know. The Republicans should be careful, or the mega should be worried about it. because they also had the new governor in New York, in New Jersey, and Micah Sherrill won the the New Jersey governor race yesterday. So that election happened. That's a big win for Democratic Party, and they were beating the a Republican candidate. And they also have a substantial win in Virginia. I think someone, I think New York City in yeah, Democrat also won in Virginia in sub national race, super national race, it says here. And also the other thing is that it's just so weird to see that how things are moving and setting the tone for the midterm. Maybe this is the new Democratic Party that people are interested. This might be the new Democratic Party. I don't know. I mean, at least they're hearing the voice of the people. Something is happening, and at least they have a direction, which makes it interesting. And I always think politics should be interesting. I always tell people that you have to. That's why it's we the people. That's why when George Washington and the founding fathers of America created the Constitution, they could have become kings and ruled the country. They didn't. So that's an example. We always have to have a democratic discussion, and that's where I feel like I'm happy to see that the Democratic Party has something to talk and have something, some leaders that are merging. Could be a socialist way, but at least something that at least they have found their way to the politics back again since after a big loss. But hey, the Republicans and the mega, I would say, you guys have to wake up now and see what things are going wrong. And I feel like if this goes, they might lose the house in the midterms next year. The Democratic Party might lose the house in the midterm, so that's going to be a good way to see it. And oh man, Zoran gave a crazy speech last night. You guys have to look it, and it was something. And I should give credit to him. I mean, he is a charismatic, great leader. I think he ran a great campaign. Kudos to his campaign managers who did a good job. I think her name is Zara, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a perfectly run campaign, and he won. So again, congratulations to Zoran Mamdani, and he's going to be the first Muslim mayor in New York City, which apparently had 9/11, which is crazy. Like, wow, that shows, in one way, it shows that okay, maybe they have gotten over it. Or I mean, I don't know how much people can forget about it and elect a Muslim mayor. On the other hand, it also shows diversity. New York City is really diverse. I've been there many times. I have family out there, family members that are out there. So amazing place. I think that shows how culturally and they're diverse. And New Yorkers are the best. Like it's a great city. Nothing to complain. I think people love it, and you know they have elected a democratic socialist mayor, and he's going to take. So he's going to be being elected mayor to like till December, and I think first week of Jan he will be officially sworn in as the mayor, which is amazing. I think I would say, like, I would like to say, coming from a different country, when I look at the U.S., they also have this 2 months gap from the election date and to becoming the sworning in ceremony, which is nice. Like there's a proper transition. People know what's happening. There's a smooth transition time. There's a learning time for the incoming administration, the mayoral administration in New York City, and it could be a good sync with that. So that happened, and with that, let's move on to the next topic. What's happening with the crypto market crashing up? The stock market is going bananas, I would say. I feel like some of the things, maybe it's because of the government shutdown. People are more fearing, as I you guys spoke about this in the last podcast. Like, it was a month now, it's almost more than a month. A lot of federal workers are not going to get money. SNAP programs are going to already cut off this weekend, and which is going to be crazy. People are going to be feeding, and I feel really bad. I mean, I think both parties should get into the discussion table and talk about it, like the Democratic and the Republicans, and Mike Johnson should try to open the conversation up so that they can, at least find a pathway to feed these people. 42 million people are not going to have food. Like, that's just really bad for a country that, the largest country in the world, the largest economy in the world, the greatest country in the world, and you don't want people to be suffering. That's really sad. So I hope that both the parties come together and try to figure out something to break the whole the shutdown, and let's start feeding the people, which is really crazy. And then also I feel like the other thing is there has been a biggest liquidation happening for in the crypto market and stock market. People are fearing. I think the retail are fearing right now what's going to happen and how what, and especially in the crypto market, I feel like it. And maybe also the tariff war between China and America is still going on. I think President Trump is trying to make a deal. I think this also would have been where the we started printing money. I mean, we started spending more. It's crazy if you look at the spending that the defense budget, the we are paying $1 trillion in interest. That's more than the defense budget, almost equal to the defense budget. I mean, Department of War budget for a year, which is crazy to look at it. But if you look at the Economic Times, they're saying that the reason why the crash happened is that 125 billion was gone. Wait, 125 billion in 5 days. Fed quietly flooded banks with cash again. So the reason why we're seeing a big flow of thing is that people are losing money, and Fed provided $125 billion to the US bank over the last 5 days to avoid for bank swap treasuries for cash to ease funding stress. The bank reserve are at the lowest for in 4 years, at just $2.6 trillion, and the Fed chair talks about inflation, but quite flooded with the bank. So this called stress easing and stress easing the market now, which has been 61%. Okay, it also connects with they are looking at a 67% of interest cuts in December, maybe the Q1, I would say. The reason why the banks are losing a lot of the Fed is just helping the banks to overcome this whole pressure. I think it will also, like I said last week, that we are losing almost $15 billion a week because of the shutdown. So that could also be a huge impact, but people are also crazy, panicking, and the Nasdaq fell 2% in a day. That's in tech industry. That's the other thing that you have to understand. Yesterday, when the stock market closed, it was the 4th of November when it closed. It has the biggest warning. Stock market closed sharply lower as major banks warned of a possible market pullback. The tech heavy Nasdaq fell minus 2%. Maybe that's a big reason why we are seeing a stock market collapse. And some investors are positive. They are saying it will be a good, speedy recovery. And I call this is the October surprise. I think this is the October surprise we had. I feel like the market will bounce back. I think everything, and I think it's getting, in my understanding, I feel like it's getting course correction. If you look at the crypto market, I think the stock market was also in the big bubble with AI and a lot of companies. Like, everything was at the top level. I think everything is course correcting itself and going into 2026. I feel, in my experience, that we might have a slow recession in the latter part of next year. Not this year, later part of next year. We might have a small, or like a recession that we can overcome. It's not going to be like a 2028 recession that's going to happen. But you never know. You never know what's the market. It's all, the famous quote, if you guys know, in the Wolf of Wall Street, when Matthew McConaughey, and I always mention this, Matthew McConaughey and Leonardo DiCaprio, they talk about stock market, and he says, the stock market is a fugazi. It's like, it's just It's a made up. I feel like it's just a. It's sometimes it could be inflated, sometimes it could be overpriced. You never know, but oh man, this is getting crazy. Big liquidation is happening in crypto market, in stock market. You don't know what's you don't we don't know what's we are heading into. Big question is how will the tariff war will end? Has President Trump messed up a little things? I don't know. All these reaction, and also Q4 is always where a lot of things happen. And when the Q4 reporting comes in, and also good thing, there's a big lot of sales happen. We have all the holidays coming in, so there's a big pullback, purchasing economy, and it happens. And also Fed might cut the interest rate, which might drive a little bit back the market. Also, Scott Bussam said U.S. interest rates are high, may already have pushed the housing sector into a recession. He thinks that housing market could be in the recession. He did press the Fed to cut the rate as fast as they can, but I don't know what's going to happen. I did see the housing market pricing are dropping. It's pretty scary. I mean, what I would say is that, guys, have savings, have money to back up for 6 months. You never know what's going to happen. If you are invested in it, make sure you invest the money you don't need to the next 6 months or 12 months, so you are financially stable. Don't invest the money that you need tomorrow. And make sure that make sure you get into a job that you're doing consistent. Don't switch job, change job. Make sure that you know what you're doing around, and also have a plan to have your mortgage paid. Like, have some plans. Don't have big purchases done. Don't spend extra money. Don't go on vacations. If you really have to, if you can afford it, go for it. But I would suggest that saving it up a little bit. Not saving it up, be caution. You don't want to go through the stressful environment if we hit a recession. So that's the news on stock market and why it is going down. Let's just move to the next one. Is the other thing I want to talk about, Elon, the interview. You guys have to watch it. It's the best interview I have seen since the last one with Joe Rogan. He did a great podcast, and he talks about a lot of things. He talks about how the government, he couldn't do a lot of things that he was supposed to do with the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, what he thought he could do. But again, then there was a lot of pushback, and he talks about how there was 80% if the monies were going the wasteful spending to Democrats. There was also 20% of Republicans that were also wasteful spending for in the side of the Republicans. So that voice was high, and then he couldn't do a lot of things he could have done in the through Doge, but he said still Doge is functioning, and they will be able to save $200 billion every year, which is good to start somewhere. And also the other thing that I wanted to see is that he was talking about is where that Elon Joe was pushing. Joe Rogan was like, okay, so what's the thing? And I think there might be flying cars. Tesla Roadster might be a flying car, guys. Listen to me again. Tesla Roadster could be a flying car. Elon just hinted it. He said he wants to pump up everything, and big news. They're planning to launch it, the launch prototype, I think in this end of this year, he said. So let's see. And that was the podcast was very. So they talk about a lot of things, and he also talks about how he's more concerned about AI safety, what AI can do. And he also talks about like where the reason why he bought X, of course, saving free speech, but at the same time making other companies also save freedom of, get back on track and not censoring people. And he was also asked like, and again, guys, don't forget, it's 3 years of buying X, Twitter. Elon, thank you so much for doing it, man. That's the best thing ever happened in my life. One of the best thing I would say. You buying Twitter just changed everything. You buying Twitter made a lot of changes to the social media platform, and also how people view information, how people took information. At the same time, people were not scared to say what they wanted to say. That's the freedom of speech, which is was censored, or which was monitored, was crazy by the last administration. So, and Elon also said that that he is looking forward to also work on the robots, Tesla robots, and a big vote is going to happen tomorrow. Hope Elon gets the package that he wants to get, and Elon from Tesla board. There's a vote happening tomorrow on the 6th. Hopefully, he gets it. Everything goes in his favor, and then only he said he's going to create the what do you call the Tesla robots. If not, he's not going to pursue that career, that pathway of creating it, if it doesn't favor in his path in elections. So with that, let's also, I mean, the other thing you guys have to watch is the interview with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. Oh man, it's just, I'm not a fan of Nick Fuentes, but some things that he talks about in the end of the podcasts are really so true. How he talks about what has OnlyFans done to the people, what pornography has done to the people. It's just crazy, man. Like how he sees the view of the world. I mean, it's always good to get a different perspective, right? When you look at when he talks about in his experience. And don't watch out for that podcast. It's a great podcast. Listen to it. Go watch it. And I think it's in Tucker Carlson's network, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And they talk about a lot of things, but I got a different perspective about Nick. How Tucker didn't push him, but it was a civilized conversation, which was great to listen. Amazing podcast. Listen to the last part if you don't have time to listen to the whole thing. With that, Trump is also trying to see, President Trump is strongly pushing to change the Senate filibuster rule, the 60 votes, so his party could pass legislation without needing a minority. That's crazy. He's trying to, what is he trying to do? I don't think so. I mean, President Trump, he's smart enough to not. These are all, sometimes he talks a lot but doesn't do that. So, I mean, we don't have to. There's the voice and something that comes in. So, I have trust in President Trump. And you guys need to understand that today I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman of the Republican Party, going to The View. So the View is a big show that's hosted by all Democrats, one Republican, I think. And she goes and I think it's a good thing. She goes there, she talks about the Republican values and party, and he says that they are not doing a good job and yada yada yada. But it's always good to have platform people that you don't agree. That's what Charlie always wanted. That's why I always admire Charlie Kirk, because he always says, you can't stop having a conversation with the opposite people that you don't agree. That's where you stop the conversation. I mean, democracy stops there. So you should be able to have a civilized conversation. That's what it's all about. That's what makes America great. That's what makes this country awesome, where you need to be able to have a different, an opposite conversation, or have a conversation with the person you don't completely agree. That's the beauty of human nature. Rather than fighting with each other or calling on names, that's just bananas and bonkers. And I don't think that's how we should go. And this country was founded upon we the people, and have the conversation, have the things that where you can talk about problems you disagree, and come up with a solution. And that's where they had the whole institution was built by the founding fathers, which is crazy to see. Like now, I mean, I think the Democratic Party is realizing they need to stop name calling and go back to real politics. And I hope we have a fruitful, I don't know, not fruitful, I would say an interesting campaign of midterm elections next year. Let's see. I think usually historically, the presidential party, the party that won the president election, loses the House after 2 years. It's been the president. So I think probably the Democrats might win. I don't want them to win. Oh, I don't know if whatever is the best. Look, guys, I am not a Republican or a Democrat. I could pay the center independent, and I feel like right now I'm moving more towards center right. But that's where I would see myself, because sometimes I feel like even too right, far too right doesn't work. Far too left obviously doesn't work, and Mega is all about center right. I would say, in my opinion. All right, guys, with that, let's go into the international news. As you all know, this week we're going to have the COP Climate Summit. That's the UNFCCC. There's a UN, and then there's another agency called, it's not an agency, it's kind of a secretariat for a convention. It's called UNFCCC. So they meet 2 times a year, and this is the second time they're meeting in the year, and that will be happening in Brazil. So many things are going to happen. COP30 could be an interesting COP. COP stands for Conference of the Parties to the Paris Agreement, Conference of the Parties to the Kyoto Protocol. I think it's just now the Conference of the Parties to the Paris Agreement and the Convention. So, which is the 30th time it's happening, and people are scared that President Trump, may disrupt and leverage the climate talks and racing. I don't think this is going to happen. People are thinking too much. I think you guys all have to read the memo that Bill Gates, guys, the guy who was saying the doomsday thing is real, just said that climate change is not an existential threat, as he said, and he said it's going to be okay. Oh, wow. Now is he rolling back all the things? This is the guy that told that the world is going to end in 2050. Not in the exact words, but the way he was talking. Oh man, that's just, if you guys read the memo, I was reading it to one of my friend, and he has 3 truths, and the one of the truth is health and prosperity are the best defense against climate change. I don't agree. The other thing he said, this is the fascinating part I like. He said temperature is not the best way to measure our progress on climate. Yeah, what is he trying? He's trying to come to realize. And the first truth that he talks about is just mind blowing, guys. Let me read it out to you. And the first truth that he says, climate change is a serious problem, but it will not be the end of civilization. Let me repeat what he said. Climate change is a serious problem, but it will not be the end of the civilization. And he thinks that the temperature will probably be less than 2 degrees. This guy, I don't know. This guy, I'm not a fan of him. Crazy. He does a lot of crazy shit with the GMO stuff in Africa with all the seeds, and he's the largest farmland owner in the US. I don't know, which is so ridiculous. But anyways, that's going to happen next year, this week I think it's happening, and people are figuring out fear that Trump, I don't think he's going to disrupt anything. People have this Trump deranged syndrome. That's just the weird. You guys need to cool it down. He's from New York. He is a Democrat that became a Republican because they didn't give the nomination. If Democratic Party would have liked his topics and the way he does things, he would have been a mega on the Democratic side. He created everything. The Democratic Party is just that they don't know what they're doing right now. I think we need to go back to, I don't know, Obama 2008. Well, it's another big question that we're going to talk about. I mean, it's another big conversation that we can talk about. The other thing, let's move on to like some Europe international news. Netherlands have the D69, the Liberal Progressive Party won the D69 election. That means, let's see, the Liberal Progressive Party led first taken by the former coalition, blah, blah, blah. The Dutch Party D69, so it's called Progressive Party D69, won the votes in general election. The new agencies NPR reported the third year. So they're going to have the youngest prime minister, that's 38 years old, who is from the Dutch Liberal Progressive Party. That's a good thing though. Like, he is not far left or far right. He is progressive. I like the word progressive because that thinks about today's, and Kudus, man, the Netherlands people are, people from Netherlands. Oh boy, yeah, it's the best. But a few thousand voters are still being counted. Dutch media reported on Friday that anti-immigration, anti-party could no longer win, so they lost. Another party lost. The D66. Wow, the D66 is now take the first round of talks to form a coalition government. So they need a coalition government to run the government, I guess, since they don't have enough seats on the parliament. But hey, congratulations, man, for the youngest prime minister they have elected, Robert Jetten. Yeah, Robert Jetten is going to be the prime minister of Netherlands. He's 38 years old, and hey, congratulations. This is crazy because if you look at this is just that I think the pendulum is swinging back and forth too much in the global space. We saw like 2024, a lot of right wing people got elected, and then now we are seeing the progressive people are getting elected from this year, moving on to next year. I don't know where this whole world is moving towards politics in the Western world, where it's moving. It's flip flopping. I hope there is growth. The fundamental thing that you all have to understand is that if you it's okay, I mean, there has to be progress. I don't want the West to fail. I mean, kind of the West is going to fail if they flip flop things, because they have to have a straight, consistent governance and moving towards an upward direction, a GDP growth, an upward direction of where people can live in prosperity, people can live in, without any problems or worry to be and worry about putting food on the plate, at the dinner table. So which is a crazy thing that I feel like seeing. Which I see these guys. I don't know. Again, guys, congratulations to the youngest prime minister who is going to be elected, who got elected in Netherlands. It's a country in Europe, and hopefully Europe can come back. Europe is also failing, in my opinion, in a lot of things, especially with immigration, socialism. I don't know. In my opinion, socialism will not work. I think a new way of socialism could work, or progressive socialism. Maybe we need to change the terminology a bit. For sure, capitalism works, but hey, it's a free market, free world. You can try whatever you want. So if New York City succeeded, then we can see a good change of things and good wave to move, and that's just going to be interesting. And the last, the final, I mean, not finally, it's so sad that global hunger monitors that a global hunger has led to famine crisis in Sudan. There's been war going in South Sudan, and which is crazy. A long siege, after a long siege, conflict by paramilitary forces. Why it matters? Because this is the worst humanitarian crisis in the world right now. Since Gaza is over now, it shows how conflict. It shows how it is important that we need to figure out, and that's why I like, look, President Trump was there in as we spoke about this last week on the podcast, that he went to Malaysia and then Cambodia and Thailand, signed the peace agreement. What I really like about President Trump is that there is no new war starting between two countries. Some wars are continuing. He has stopped a lot of wars. The world is at peace. The world is at least less killing of people each other for no reason. I think that's a great sign. That's a great sign of humanity, at least moving in the right direction. People might not, President Trump he's not flawless, he has problems, At the same time, he's also like the commanding president. He has the hold of everything that he says. And you guys have to look at, after 5 years, he sat down with 60 Minutes. Great interview, by the way. You got to look at it, and it's already uploaded. First time 60 Minutes has uploaded an uncut version, the whole 72 minutes. It's on, I think, Response 47. I think they posted it, and 60 Minutes has it on their on their YouTube channel. So with that, guys, Dodgers won the World Series last weekend. We got the two. We're going for the three-piece, which is going to be amazing and showing a tiny. And it went to, I mean, crazy, crazy game. One of the best World Series Game 7 I have seen. We were all panicking, and it was a good finish. The boys were here, Dodgers fans they were here on Monday. Yeah, on Monday, yesterday, they were here. They had a big parade, celebration, and congratulations to the Dodgers and Dodgers fan. Let's go Dodgers. Hey, that's what we call it. Amazing, amazing. We want to take this to the. Hopefully, we win, but knock on the wood, it's going to happen. And I don't want to, hopefully we win and get the three-piece. All right, guys. So we touched upon all the topics. Don't be afraid. I think there's some lot of liquidation happening with the stock market and the crypto market. Don't panic. This is a time to invest. This is a time to put in money, and don't put in the money that you need tomorrow. Don't put in the money you need in 2 months. Put the money that you don't need in a year or two to use. If you have that extra money, always invest. Don't keep cash at home, because cash sometimes is not worth anything. I read an article like yesterday, like a couple of weeks ago, that a dollar that worth in 2000 it's only worth 65 cents now, which is crazy. We lost 40% of the currency valuation. So we are saying a dollar, what we can buy for a dollar last in December, in 2000, we can only buy those things. We can only buy it with $1.65. So it's just crazy, like how much a dollar has not becoming basically worthless. Which is scary. But we also talked about, again, New Yorkers, good morning, and the favorite radio show you hear, good morning New Yorkers, and this is blah blah blah, and they would be like, here we go, Zoran Mamdani elected as the first youngest Muslim socialist, democratic socialist mayor. It's going to be sworn in first week of January. And we spoke about the New York Democrats are gaining back popularity with the governorship win in New Jersey. Oh, and the other thing I also forgot to talk about. So the California, they had Proposition 50, where they wanted to redesign the district so they can get more houses, which I wasn't a fan of it. Crazy, but they won. So now the governors, I think the governor administration can redistrict California, and then we might probably have 5 more seats. I don't know. Listen, Texas did it. They got 5 seats, and I don't think what's harming. If they can do it, California should be able to do it too. But I don't know. But they did it, so that's why they put this Proposition 50, and it passed big time, and they won. Newsom won, and which is going to be interesting. So all right, guys, thank you so much to listening to Every Degree Matters. Please subscribe, like us, share us, and we need all your support. I'm trying to do it by myself. I'm going to be doing it by myself, and please let us know if we can improve anything. And with that, I'll see you all next week. Thank you, and have a nice week ahead.